Alright, today we're unboxing a new Engwe bike. This is the L20 2.0. So it's the second version. And the differences between the 1.0 and the 2.0 are, this is a step-through frame like the L20 was, but it folds. So the original L20 did not fold, this one does. Has a little bit more power, a higher top speed. Again, it is a step-through frame, so something that anybody can ride. Now I'm going to lift the bike out. And I can do it on these kind of bikes because they are lightweight. But we have two other boxes inside the bigger box, so let's see what we got in here. Lucy, are you going to help me unbox today? Yeah. Okay, we got a couple boxes inside that box. So let's see what we have in here. It looks like this is protected. Oh, it comes with a front cargo basket. That's nice. You'll have a rear rack and a front rack. And you can probably attach baskets or bags if you want. So we'll be installing that here shortly. And this one is probably going to be all of the little things like tools, pedals, headlight, stuff like that. Headlight might actually already be installed. Can't tell. We got folding pedals. We got a tool bag, some zip ties, and a 58.8 2 amp charger. So this must be a 52 volt e-bike. The original L20 was a 1000 watt peak on the motor, and it was a 48 volt bike with 50 Newton meters of torque and a max top speed of 25 miles per hour. I did not review that bike, so I don't know a lot about it. The 2.0, which is the next version, is 1125 watts of peak power, 52 volt instead of 48 volt, 75 Newton meters of torque, and 28 miles per hour. And I'll put all of that on the screen for you guys to see. The original L20 was not foldable. The 2.0 is foldable, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. And it's going to come in at an early bird price of $7.99. So a really good deal on a folding e-bike with a 52 volt battery. But now we're just going to cut off all these zip ties, and I'm going to listen to some music while I do this. Okay, first thing you want to do after you get all the styrofoam off is come up here and insert your handlebars. Now it's only going to go in one way, so you'll have a little notch here and then a little notch here, and you just have to line those up. But first undo your quick release. And it has a minimum insertion point, so you want to make sure you're at least to that line. I have mine all the way up all the time, so because I am a taller rider, I'm going to go ahead and set that at 0. And then you just want to fold this up and lock it in place. Make sure this is nice and secure. Then we can come up here and make sure this is all situated properly. Make sure that everything is lined up for you. And it looks like it from the factory, it's pretty good. Next thing, we'll put our seat on so we can flip the bike around. This is also a shock absorber seat post, so that'll be nice. It'll provide a little bit of suspension in the back since you don't really have any rear suspension on this bike. Now these seats are pretty neat. They have a little lever back here, and you just lift this up, and this allows you to take the battery in and out, which is a nice feature. And to take the battery out, there's a keyhole on the other side to unlock it, and then you just pull it out. I do like these tires. It looks like they're 20 by 3s. The next thing we want to do is grab my tool kit, which I've switched my tool kit to this new bag by Handlebar Jacks. This company makes really cool things. So inside of here are all my tools, and then the main pocket right here. This has my handlebar jacks, which is what we need right now. So I have the newest version in here. And the handlebar jacks will allow me to flip the bike over so I can install everything else really easy. Just with a couple of these that pull apart. And then you use these and it's like a tripod. And they strap to your handlebars so that you can easily flip it over and work on it. So all we do is take those and we put them around our handlebar grip here and then pull down on each side. And this is the newest version, which are specifically made for e-bikes. They're a little bit thicker, taller, and more robust than the previous version. The previous version were a little smaller, which I like, easier to fit in your bag. But since I have the handlebar jack bike bag, makes it really easy to carry these with them. Alright, so then you just come over here, hold your rear brake, flip the bike over like so, and just grab your forks and be really gentle so you don't scratch anything up. And then you'll have to get these orientated in the right position. And that's pretty much all you gotta do. Now sometimes, because these front ends are so light, you'll have to lower your seat, which I'm gonna have to do now. And I just undo it until it comes down and sits flat. And then I'll crank this closed, and then it's pretty level and it shouldn't tip over or anything. With every e-bike, you're gonna get a set of tools that will work for everything on the bike to allow you to adjust the brakes or anything for that matter. And you can use those to assemble the bike. And Engwe usually always gives you a pretty good set of tools. I'm just using my pedal wrench right now, just because I'm going to need it in just a second anyways. And so now we're just going to take this off. This is just put in here for protection. You can discard that. And then you're going to grab your wheel. Just need to make sure your rotor is on the same side as your caliper. And we need to loosen these. And you want to make sure you have these washers right as well. And then we just got to drop these in here. There is a torque washer right in here. And the pointy part has to go in the hole down at the bottom of the fork. And on both sides it has that. So you just want to make sure that that's where it's supposed to be. And that helps keep everything together when you're riding. And then you'll just take your 15 mil and tighten this up. It's as simple as that. Again, I'm just using a big pedal wrench because it's just easier for me to use this for everything as much as I can. Now it does feel like we are getting pretty big rubbing on the brakes here. So we're going to need to make some adjustments. That might fix itself when you take your first ride. But usually you'll have to adjust those calipers, and I'll show you how to do that as well. Alright, next thing we're going to go ahead and put the pedals on. I usually do that last, but I got the tool right here. Might as well just go ahead and do it. Engwe makes it easy, and they label which way you should turn your pedals so you don't cross thread them. But basically you want to use your hand, your fingers, and just get it in here, get it started, and then twist it on by hand at the very beginning. So on the left side of the bike, you got to twist in the opposite direction that you normally would for righty-tighty. You're going to go lefty-tighty, and it's indicated on the pedals themselves right here. We're going to take that sticker off though, and it's a good quality sticker that peels off and doesn't leave a lot of residue. That's nice. So we'll go ahead and twist this on all the way. And that's pretty much all you gotta do with that. And then we'll move on to the other side, which is the same thing, but just opposite direction, righty-tighty over here. Now the cool thing about these pedals is that they fold. So you just pull on this right here and they fold up. Pull, fold. So when you have the bike folded and your pedals folded and your stem folded, it gets pretty compact. All right, that's most of it. Now we're going to go ahead and flip the bike back over, install the fender and the headlight and the front rack. Okay. And I really like this bag. It's super cool, very convenient. I have my air pump in here, my handlebar jacks, some tire tube patches, some tools, and it just is really compact. Clip it in, cinch these down to tighten everything up. And then you can attach this to your bike anywhere, like on your handlebars up here or on the back rack. It comes with Velcro that's stitched into this. So you'll always have these with you if you have this bag. And I recommend carrying tools with you every time you go out, especially when you're going 20 or 30 miles out, which we'll see how much range we have with this bike once we get to that point. But first thing we're going to do is install the rack, which will go right here. So now we're going to remove these 4 bolts. As I always state in my videos, you should go over every nut and bolt on your bike, not just the things you're installing, but everything. Make sure the wheel nuts are really tight. Make sure the rear ones are definitely all the way tight. Make sure everything is nice and secure before you go out on your first ride. So, of course, we already know this one is going to be good because it's got blue Loctite on all the bolts. I can see it. Now, one thing that I noticed on this, before we put the rack on, we want to make sure the cables are on the right side over here. So, we want the cables to be able to wrap on the little thing here to hold the cables in place. And that should be on the same side as this. So we need to take the handlebars off, and just the same way we put them on earlier, and we're going to run this down and underneath. I don't know if it just got flipped during packaging or what, but that's it. And then we'll put this back in. So not anything major, just something to keep an eye on. And we'll put this back up, put this back. So now when we put the rack on, we'll have the cables on the right side and they can go over there, and that kind of just holds them in place. So if that happens to you, you want to make sure your cables are on the side that they need to be on. So now we're going to take our rack and our bolts, and we are going to bolt this up. You want to start by putting them on by hand. If you can screw them with your fingers, then you're good to go. I'll get them on there. Loose it first. Make sure all your washers are on there like they're supposed to be. And then we'll be good. And we'll line it up as we go to make sure it's straight. Because there is some play in here to get it kind of level, just in case there's any defects from the manufacturing process. So we'll go ahead and screw these down like so, all the way to the bottom. We'll get them as close as we can to the edge before they're tight. Just tighten these down all independently. Work at a cross pattern like you would if you were changing a tire on a car. Now again, that has Loctite on it, so it's going to be fine. Ain't going to go anywhere. Okay, the reason we're putting the rack on first is so that we can install the headlight. Now the rack has a zip tie point right here underneath at the bottom to hold this cable so it doesn't get wrapped up in your tire or wheel when you're riding. All right, now to assemble this part, you'll want to take the bolt that was in the bag. It is actually shorter than the fender bolt. So the bolt that's in the bag is for your headlight. And it's made a little different. It's got a little bit thicker washer. And I don't think it matters if you put it on the front or back. I'm going to put it on the front. And then the back here. Put the other washer and then the nut. So make sure you use the bolt for the headlight that's in the bag, in the box. Does that make sense? There's a bag inside the box where the charger is. That is where you're going to get the bolt for this. The other bolt down here is for your fender, and that's already installed. So once you take that off, you'll use that for your fender. And I'm just going to tighten this down real quick. Get everything nice and lined up. And then we're going to tighten this down like so. Alright, then you take your bolt and washer on one side, and then your washer and nut on the other side. And I always put this in the front if it calls for it. You can also install it on the back. Sometimes you have to do it differently depending on the bike. But this particular one, since we have a front rack, I'm going to put this on the front side. Should be good because you don't want this rubbing on your tire. And then the last and final thing that we have to do is there are bolts on each side for the fender bracket. And these should bend up. Take these off. There's a washer here. Looks like they got Loctite on everything. And the final thing we have to do on this bike, because we noticed that the brakes are rubbing, is we're going to make some adjustments. So the front brake's pretty easy because the brake lever's right here on the same side as the bike. So what we'll do is we'll loosen these. It's the same bolt size as all the other bolts that we've been messing with. So you really only need one Allen key for all this stuff so far. But what you want to do is loosen these two bolts here so that this caliper can move side to side. What we're doing is we're basically aligning it onto the rotor so that it matches. So as you can see, when I loosened it up there, it loosened up and moved. So now we're just going to hit the brakes, squeeze them really tight, and then we're going to use our Allen key, Allen wrench, and tighten these bolts up while we're still squeezing. Once we get it nice and tight, we shouldn't get very much rubbing anymore. And here's the L20 2.0 all assembled. We can get closer here. It's like a carbon gray color. I don't know what the actual name of the color is, but to me, this is kind of like a gray color if you compare it to the black. And it is a folding step-through frame. So the Engwe L20 2.0 comes in 3 different colors. We have the Onyx Black, which is the one that I'm reviewing. The Sea Green, which is like a blue-green color, very nice color. And then the Rose Pink, which is kind of like a coral color. I really like that one as well for women. Now the differences between the L20 and the L20 2.0 are the L20 has 20 by 4 inch fat tires with mag wheels. The L20 2.0 has 20 by 3 inch tires with spoke wheels. Now on here it shows 20 by 4, but they are actually 20 by 3 inch tires. The L20 also did not fold The L20 2.0 is a folding frame, so that's nice. They pretty much are similar in a lot of ways. The front rack's a little different. It's more flat, so you can put a bag on it. The L20 also had BMX bars, which I thought was really cool, and it's still for sale, so you can pick either one of these bikes if you decide to. The L20 2.0 has the folding stem here so that you can fold the bike up into a compact package. They both have hardtails, so the only suspension you're going to get is in the seat post. It still works pretty good. Definitely not as good if it had suspension in the rear, but it's way better than not having any suspension at all. Now, these are not the highest end suspension seat post. If you're looking to upgrade in the future, check out Redshift. They're one of my sponsors and I love their products. Their seat post is number one out of the box. It beats everything I've ever tried. But you have options. They have both of these available on their website. The L20 2.0 is on sale right now for $799.99. So if you're interested in checking out any of the Engwe bikes, you can go down below the like button where the description is, and that link below will take you to, you can see all the different e-bike models that they have. They have a ton. I'm actually getting another Engwe bike in soon, so I'll be doing another review on one of their e-bikes. Plus the L20 2.0, I am going to be doing a full range test and ride on this bike, so the next video you'll see will be the Engwe L20 2.0 ride and review. Stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.